Sometimes I forget to hit record.
Do you really?
I did it one time, yeah. The last one I did, which is actually the second to last one, which was like the most popular one. And we had an entire conversation and I forgot to hit record. And it was and I was like, okay, that's it. And it was like, and I went to hit stop and I realized I
never record.
And I was like, oh my goodness.
So you just had to have that entire conversation
Well,
again?
you know what? I tried to have it over again. Shout out to my man Dame Ritter. He's the CEO of Funk Volume, and yeah, I was like, man, let's do it again. And he was super cool. He actually has like a broken leg right now.
Oh man.
Oh wow.
So he wasn't really doing too much, but he was a super good sport about it. And he was. We recorded it over again, and we ended up just talking about stuff completely. I had a few questions in my mind. And,
right.
you know, I just basically threw all that out the window. I was like, let's just talk. And then a bunch of people ended up listening to it. So.
That's cool. So you have a documentary series, a feature-length film that just came out, right?
Yeah, I put out my first feature-length film on Tiny Tempa. We put that out on YouTube. So that was like my first time doing that. Yeah, one of the things. Yeah.
All right. And then you also have this podcast. What else can we expect from you? What are you working on now besides, I know you have another feature film coming up in 2015.
And then, so now, really, man, there's a lot of stuff. As well, I have a new merch sort of small clothing line coming up. And people will see what the deal is with that very soon. But it has to do with sort of like being bi-coastal and travel and all this stuff. And so it's kind of like, it kind of coincides with the party, but it also kind of coincides with my life. And yeah, and it's just like, it's gonna be really dope, and we're about to put everything out in late June.
Oh wow.
Nice. That's my question. Okay, so basically, you said earlier that you, I called you a jack of all trades, and you're like, no, everything's kind of been like a natural progression. And so what is the progression, and kind of like what are you striving towards and going toward? Okay.
So when I first started doing interviews, that's kind of how everything popped off. And I was at Howard, and every time an artist would come to my school, I would interview them. And then that sort of led to me wanting to do more longer form things with these artists and telling sort of longer stories. And that led to me working at Capitol Records and doing all the sort of short form documentary stuff for the artists there. While I was working there and living in New York, my birthday happened, and I was like, well, let's have a party for the people that watch my videos and all of our friends in New York. And then it quickly became into a business idea and a business opportunity. And all of these things sort of, I feel that people need more opportunities to share their sort of like creative talents, and I feel that everybody has a certain level of creative ability that is just not like fostered, and people don't really the way people's education works now is that learn this information, regurgitate this information, and this information will get you a job. But more and more we're finding out that story is just not true, you know what I mean? And to be successful nowadays, you really have to offer something unique and offer something that is true to you. And because at the end of the day, a robot can do your job. Somebody can write code to do a basic job, you know what I mean? And that's just the truth. So I wanted to sort of promote these values in my work, whether it's people seeing the films that I'm making and seeing the people that I'm profiling and seeing that oh, well, they did something that was unique to them. What's unique to me that I can offer to the world? And even with, the parties and stuff, I mean, it sounds kind of cheesy, but it really is an experience, a time and a place where you don't have to feel you don't have to feel like anybody but yourself.
Right.
Nobody's judging you when you step into one of my parties. It's not about how much money is in your pocket, anything like that. It's just about good people having a good time and sharing experiences with others. And so at the end of the day, all of these things are rooted within each thing that I do. And even like, when it comes down to some of the merch and clothing that I produce, it's the same type of thing. It's like I just try to mix like medicine with candy, essentially.
Yeah.
Like everything that I do. So.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start using it.
Like cotton candy flavored Robitussin.
Yeah, exactly.
It would probably still taste nasty.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Robitussin is like the most disgusting medicine.
So speaking of your colors party, I've never been, and you guys have totally just
we're
grabbed my
going
interest.
next month.
So what is
We're
the
going.
information for June? What's like?
Yeah, so June. Well, first of all, it's the first weekend of the month in LA and the last weekend of the month in New York.
Okay.
Okay.
So it is a BICOASTAL monthly party. That's kind of like the tagline of it. And yeah, it's if you go to mycolorsparty.com, you can that's where you can sign up for the email list on each city.
Okay.
And you stay notified about it. And then the thing is, LA. This last one is like the last sort of free one in LA before it moves to a ticketed event. But as long as, like I said, I'm kind of all about just like making sure everybody's having a good time and people are not breaking the bank. So like everybody that's on the email list, there's always an opportunity to get like a 50% discount on tickets. So like for those that are in New York, it's like every time I put the new information out, there's like a 2-day window for you to get like 50% off of the $10 ticket.
That's
so
cool.
it's like $5.
$5, yeah.
Yeah,
Can't
that's
beat
pretty reasonable.
Yeah. So I understand, especially in New York, I really understand how expensive that place is. You know what I mean? And so I just want people to be able to, at least for one day out of the month, have a good time and not look at their checking account the next day and shed a tear.
Right.
Well, that's pretty ambitious and fun. So we ask all of our guests on Unorthodox Tea Time, what makes you unorthodox? What makes Jabari Johnson unorthodox?
What makes me unorthodox? I would say that I really do whatever it takes, and no matter what, for me to like always be happy. I think that's like when people ask me like, what's your goal, man? What do you want to be doing? And it's like really the overarching theme is I just want to be happy. I'm very happy right now, and I've had small moments in my life where I wasn't happy, and I've just realized that that's what life is about. I mean, it's not as much about your career and your title and like how much money you have and all that stuff. It really boils down to like, are you waking up smiling every day? Are you realizing how fortunate you are to be just breathing air? And I think constantly being aware of those things and trying to put my happiness above everything, I think that is what makes me unorthodox. And I hope that in the future that is not unorthodox. I hope that is the norm. I hope that everybody feels like that. So hopefully I can do like a little part in making that the status quo, I guess.
That's dope. Prioritizing happiness.
Yeah, that's important. It is. I think too often people just do stuff because they feel like they have to.
Yeah.
And not because they want to.
Yeah.
So it's important. Well, thank you for taking the time to
thank
chop
you.
it up with us.
Thank you
for
this.
drinking wine. And so I guess we should probably end this with the pinkies.
And with that said, I'm Danielle Dorkey.
I'm Catherine.
And until next time,
Pinkies up, bitches.
All right.
Bring me down. Love is too high. Bring me down. You can't nothing. Bring me down. You can't nothing. Bring me down. Happy, because I'm happy.